All right, guys, good morning. Thank you for joining me. I know it's a little awkward because it's not our regular Thursday, but I didn't want to take up time from tomorrow for the Four Lenses training with Danielle Fewings and Robin Blade. They are pretty fantastic people, and I really want you guys to be able to tune in on that one. It will also be recorded, but it's such a good one to do live, so I didn't want to take up that time. But I've talked to so many people recently that are really struggling with time management and how to get everything done and how to, really figure out what should you be doing, when should you be doing it, and how can you actually do this job without it overtaking your entire life. If you have another full-time job or part-time job, if you're a parent, if you, just want to have a life in general, those things should be a part of who you are. And we all had talents and friends and lives before LuLaRoe, and you can still have talents and friends and things after LuLaRoe. It is a busy business to be in because everybody wants what we have. But I have been doing this for about 3 years. It'll be 3 years in March. And so I've learned a few things. I spent my first year kind of stressing about, will this actually work? Will people actually buy these clothes? I spent my second year feeling like I was on a roller coaster that I couldn't stop. And I feel like in this past year, I've really been able to kind of figure out things, personally, what it is that I needed to be actually doing and how to complete the tasks that I wanted to complete and how to be like a whole human being. So I'm hoping that what I share with you today, it comes from personal experience, it comes from a lot of books that I've read, it comes from a lot of different tricks and trades that I have found that really help me. And I just want to share that with you. I've heard a lot of people talk about time management, and some of the things work for me and some of the things don't. So I hope that you do the same thing with what I'm going to share with you today, that you'll take some of the things that work for you and you can apply them, and maybe you can work through and find other things that maybe work better for yourself. But these are 3 little simple tips that are pretty impactful for me, that have really helped me to go from feeling like I'm working 24/7 to feeling like I have a day job and I can still be a mom and a friend and a volunteer and a part of my community and all of those things. So for me, it was a really long journey, and I'm hoping that my experience can help you shorten your journey in kind of finding your own balance and in your own understanding. So I'm going to share a screen with you because I'm all about little PowerPoint presentations because I'm a visual learner. And it helps me. So I figure, why not? There you go. So time management. I boiled down 3 different things for you to kind of assess. And I have done all of these, and I do them on a daily basis, like really on the daily. So I'm talking about assessing your time, assessing your own addiction, and assessing your tasks. And I'll go through each and what I actually mean. So kind of assessing your time. If you've heard of Amelia Lyons, she talks a lot about setting office hours. For me, that didn't work very well because I love what I do, and it was easy for me to work all the time. Like all the time, because I loved what I was doing and I wanted it to be successful. So I was constantly just working. I was okay with people coming over anytime. I was okay with questions in all hours of the night because that's what I did. But what was happening to me was that I wasn't engaging with my kids. I wasn't taking care of myself. So instead of when I tried to set office hours and say, okay, I'm going to work from like 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and then I'm going to work from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., focusing on when I was going to work made it really hard for me when things came up. So I kind of switched for myself, and I set myself what I called sacred time. So from 4 to 8 o'clock every day, I don't work. So I put my phone away, I walk away, and that's my sacred time. So when you are assessing your own time, you need to think to yourself, how much am I going to work? Okay, how many hours a week am I going to work? For me, this is my full-time job, and I am willing to work 50 hours. Know that that's more than a full-time job. I get it. But that's how much I'm willing to put into it. So about 40% of my time I put into sales. 40% of my time I put into my team as a whole, and part of that's divided between my directs and then all 500 people. So I split my time up like that. So 40% of 50 hours, 40% of 40 hours is 15 hours a week on sales, 15 hours on my team. And then I'm about 10% of my time is on administrative tasks, shipping, taxes, you know, dealing with expenses and things like that. So that's about 4 hours a week. And then another 10% of my time is on me, like self-development and kind of job type stuff. So reading leadership books, reading time management books, learning about marketing skills and things like that. So I work between 40 to 50 hours a week. Sometimes I'll do more hours on sales or more hours on my team, or more hours on, you know, administrative tasks like right now because of taxes coming up. I've been spending a lot of time on that, getting it up. So ask yourself, how much will you work and how much will you play? When will you do each, and set your schedule? So instead of me, if somebody like me who really is motivated by freedom, time, and want to do it, and you feel really overwhelmed and you don't get to do any of the fun things, I want you to take your calendar. I don't know if you guys can see me at all, but I have my calendar here. Let's stop sharing. Oh, never mind. I won't. And go through your calendar and mark your days off first. So go through and say, when will you not work? Okay? And say, like, okay, personally, I don't work weekends. I don't like work weekends. I'll put in one weekend a month where I'm willing to do a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon, evening, and that's it. So I mark out my weekends, and I'm not going to do it then. I go through and I mark out any vacations that I want to take. I like to take a 3-day weekend every once in a while, every month, and go ahead and do that. And then go through and say, okay, these are the days that I'm willing to work. If I'm willing to spend 15 hours a week on sales, then that looks like 2 in-home pop-ups, maybe 3, plus an online live sale and an online album sale. So that to me is about 15 hours of work within that. So set your own schedule. When do you work? When do you play? So my daily schedule also includes a lot of me time. Like I said, 10% of my time is about leadership. So I can see your face and we can kind of. So then the question is, so my mornings, I'll tell you how my mornings work for me, because I really love to read. And my second year, remember I told you in the beginning, my second year was like me running around feeling like I was working all the time. And I love to read. So I love Wired magazine, and I love all books, but Wired magazine and I are like best friends. So my second year, I realized I had this like stack that was growing bigger and bigger and bigger of these magazines that were still in their plastic, never opened. And I remember looking at them and almost being like, not even almost, I was like totally brought to tears because I wanted to read them so bad. And then, so then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to start, I'm going to just start reading them. And I was slowly kind of picking it up. And then I was realizing how much of myself I had lost in the business because I didn't give in to just kind of that need of feeding myself. So I've transformed myself since this past fall. I used to say to my husband, I'm like, can I get one day a month where all I can do is lay in bed and read a book? Like that to me sounds amazing, right? Well, I was realizing that what if I didn't do it one whole day? I wouldn't have to sacrifice a whole day to do that if I fed myself a little bit every single day. So I started doing, changing myself and realizing that I didn't need to live up to anybody else's expectations. I'm not the kind of person that's going to wake up at 6 a.m. before my kids and go for a walk and get myself all ready. That's not who I am, and that's not what I like, and that's not what feeds my soul. What I like is to lay in bed, and I like to drink coffee, and I love to read. And now I'm not reading, and I'm reading because I love what it does for me. So I changed my schedule in the morning, that at 8 o'clock every morning, I sit in bed with a cup of coffee and a book, and I read for 1 hour every day. Every day. Either I'm reading a magazine, or I'm reading a novel, or I'm reading a leadership book. But to me, that is when I'm like the first thing in the morning, realizing that taking care of myself first. Like, how many times have you picked up your phone before you've even brushed your teeth, done your hair, eaten breakfast, all of those things? None of that's okay. None of that's okay. And that's not expected of you. And that leads me into my second point. So after you've kind of set your schedule and you're like, okay, I am willing to work on these days and I'm not willing to work on those days, and this is my play time and this is my work time. For me, like I said, it was really hard to compartmentalize the work because it happens on different hours, but it was easier for me to set my off time. Does that make sense? Anybody have a question or a thought about that? You can only see two faces. But you can unmute yourself if anybody has a question.
Well, I have one question. Because this is your full-time job.
Yeah.
I have my wife and I have full-time jobs as well on top of this. So how do we find that? I mean, for us, it's kind of hard to find that balance because we're working so much and having to come home and then doing this. I mean, I absolutely love it, but it's just like trying to find that balance of like our fun time.
Yeah, so that's what you guys kind of have to decide is how many hours are you going to put into the business. If this is both of you guys' second job, then is it 20 hours? Is it 20 hours together? Is it 15 hours each? Really kind of making that decision and that choice for yourself, and then breaking down those hours. Like, what does that look like to you? Since you guys don't have a large team and you're not focusing on that, your guys' job is really to focus on your sales and spreading your customer base. So if it was me, I would decide how many hours I'm willing to work. An extra 20 hours, is that what you want to do? Or is it an extra 15? And how are you going to split that up? Is 15 hours could be 3 pop-ups. That could be 2 in-home and 1 online. And really just kind of keeping track of your time is really important, because sometimes we can feel like we work a lot, but in reality, if we start looking at the hours, like me, some days I'm like, oh my God, I've worked so hard today. And I'm like, it's been 6 hours of work. I'm like, really? I'm not carrying rocks to the riverbed for 10 hours a day, like a lot of people in this world. So, I mean, really assessing how much do you want to work? Like, sit down and decide together how many hours you guys want to invest in a week in this business, and then start breaking that down. You guys are going to spend about 90% of your time focusing on your sales. So if it's going to be 20 hours, then you're going to look at 18 hours doing sales, and you're going to do about 2 hours of administrative, shipping, business type stuff. And if things are taking longer than that, you need to start adjusting what you're going to get rid of, which I'm going to talk about in my third point. Does that sort of answer your question, Ronnie?
I have a question, Amy.
Yes, go.
Okay, so during your set sacred time, how do you set boundaries with customers? I know there's no such thing as a skirt emergency, but in the age of Facebook, I really struggle with constant messages from customers about, they need help, they want to know where something's made, stuff like that.
So I communicate with it on my cover page, on my cover photo, on my VIP group. It tells them exactly what I do and when I do it. It tells them that I ship only on Fridays. It tells them that on Wednesdays I go live, and then there will be an album sale on Saturday or on Sunday afternoons. It tells them that on Monday mornings I do pop-ups, and on Tuesday nights I do pop-ups. And then in my group description, I describe that I'm not available from 4 to 8. And that's also in, the Bowtie team, description. Most people know that I'm not there and that you can't get a hold of me on the weekends. And if it truly is an emergency, people know how to contact me. But other than that, it's you just put your phone away. And it's really amazing what will happen if you put your phone away for 24 hours and you come back to it and you realize that you still have customers, you still can answer the questions, and people will respect you more. Your customers will respect you more if you just communicate to them what you're doing and setting up your schedule within those time frames. So if you say you have this sacred time, like me from 4 to 8, I'm not going to go post an album at 4 o'clock and then run away. I'm going to post it at 8 o'clock when I am ready to go back to work, because I will work from 8 to 11. I like that. My husband likes to go to the garage and he does his thing. It's like our lunch break. Kids are asleep, life is a party. So that's why I always go live at 8:30 at night. And I just push things to my schedule and to where I want to be. And so do I lose customers because I don't cater to what they need? Sure. But do I gain customers? Because, there is some customer base that wants to shop that way. You know what I mean? So that kind of leads into the next point, assessing your addiction. This is a hard one because it's kind of touchy, but I'm willing to work 20 whatever it is that you're willing to work. You set boundaries. LuLaRoe works for you. You don't work for LuLaRoe. No one is going to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how many hours to invest in your business. And no one's going to sit here and tell me. That's my position in the fact that I own my own business. So set your time, set your own schedule. It works better to focus on sacred time as work time. Okay, so assessing your addiction. You guys, this is so, so big. We get such a dopamine rush from likes on Facebook, notifications, likes on Instagram. It's literally a high. It stimulates the same part of your brain that cocaine does, and we are all addicted to it, okay? If you are an alcoholic, the first signs is, what do you do the first thing when you wake up? What's the first thing you think about? And if you're an alcoholic, it's that next drink. So if you think about it, when your eyes open, the first thing you do is pick up your phone. What are you? An addict. You're totally an addict. And so I say take care of your actions before you pick up your phone. I don't keep my phone in my room. If your phone is your alarm clock, spend $10 on Amazon and buy an alarm clock. You don't need your phone next to your bed, especially because we run our business with our phones. I always leave my phone in my office, plug it in, and it's behind a closed door, so I can't hear it. It's generally on silent. You can also give an iPhone, put it not disturb. That's an amazing thing to do. So take care of your actions before you pick up your phone. This is probably the biggest thing that you could do for yourself to help you feel like you're not working all the time. Especially if you've got kids, you have to get out the door. Nothing is worse than picking up your phone, reading messages, and feeling like you have this large burden upon you that, oh my gosh, someone wants these leggings. I need to send this, and I forgot to ship this, I forgot to do that. I need to do this, and they want to match top. And you're thinking about all of this stuff, but you got to get in your car and you've got to go to work, or you've got to get your kids dressed, fed, and out the door. And so you have created this stress within yourself that builds up all these hormones and cortisol and stress that makes you feel like you are climbing a hill and just you keep slipping back down. So because you pick up your phone, you've created a situation where you're creating more stress than you actually have. So when I say take care of your core actions before you pick up your phone, I'm talking so basic, guys. I'm talking get up, eat breakfast, get ready for the day, get yourself fully prepared. There is no other business where, it's so easy to roll out of bed and end up in your pajamas until 2 o'clock in the afternoon because you just went from item to item what you need to do and take care of you. Get your kids ready if that's what you need to do. Take them to school if that's what you need to do. Whatever you need to do is your core actions. For me, it's reading, taking time for myself, drinking a couple of really good cups of coffee, because I'm doing this on my own time. When I say post and walk, it's this idea that don't be addicted to posting your pictures on Instagram and looking every 5 minutes for how many likes you have. You have to break the cycle of your own addiction. And the best way to do that is to post a picture and then leave your phone at home and take a walk. That's what I do. So when I say post and walk, that's what I do for myself. I'll generally go outside, have my husband take the picture. I will post it to Instagram real quick, and we'll leave all the phones at home. We'll go take a walk to the beach. And it really hurts that addiction, that desire. It's like an alcoholic, If they're going to, why expose yourself to being around all your temptations when you know that it's going to cause you to fail? So post it, and then do what you need to do. Do you like to play music? Do you like to whatever? But try and break that addiction to the likes, to the feedback, to everything. And when you're posting albums to shop, post it at a time you're going to sit in front of your computer. All the things are done. Everyone's taken care of. If it's kids, it's about to go to nap time, or they're already in bed, or if it's after work, or however it is. Don't post your albums when you know you're going to be getting a lot of feedback and that you need to interact with your people. Don't post it up against a deadline for yourself. Finish what needs to be finished for you. Eat, exercise, read, take care of your portions before you're going to do something like that, okay? Store your phone. You guys, put it away. 4 to 8 o'clock, I am not on my phone. I am mom. I am wife. I'm friends. I'm making dinner. I'm having people over. I'm, playing with my kids outside. 4 to 8 doesn't just mean I'm not working. It means I'm not connected to my phone. So really give yourself permission to put it down. It's really hard to get. I get it. I totally get it. I'll never forget, sitting there and laying back with my kids when they're taking a nap, and sitting on my phone, they're taking a nap, and I'm thumbing through things, and I'm doing it, and it's like I could have taken 10 minutes and just kind of relaxed my brain and would have been way more efficient later on. So have unplugged times. I pick 24 hours out of every single week. And it's normally Saturday night to Sunday night, or Saturday at 4 to Sunday at 4, because I post on Sunday afternoons. So on that 24 hours, I just turn it off. Turn it off. Lose it. Forget to charge it. People know that, my family knows that if they can't contact me, they just call my husband's phone. And it's okay. It's really okay. Because you want to come into this every single week, every single day, excited by it, not feeling like you've been beaten down by it. And the hardest part about time management is accepting the fact that you are addicted. We're all addicted. We're addicted to the dopamine rush, the likes, everything. Connection bad, screen shared. Okay, I'm reading all of your comments now because I can't see anything when I share my screen. So I'll share the last one briefly. It could be the fact that my family is probably streaming some sort of video. hopefully on the recording it's better. So then the last tip I have for time management is we assess time. You assess your are you addicted to Instagram, to the sale, and make sure that when you set up your time, that it's in balance and in line with what you're addicted to. It's hard. I get it. So the third thing I love the most, this is something that I am just kind of last 3 months really, this is addiction. And the idea is that we're taking our addiction from these things that are high, our social media, all of those things, to switching your addiction to getting stuff done, okay? And I'm a huge procrastinator, and the reason why we all procrastinate is because we get high. As we push up to the deadline, we get that dopamine rush, and we're addicted to it. So many years in therapy have taught to switch my addiction from the procrastination to getting things done and so your okay, this is thinking on paper. You know, while people do, oh, I don't like this big list, it's fine. No, think on paper. It's called a mind dump. This is my like literally dump every single thing that's on your brain onto a piece of paper with no judgment, no thought, nothing. Just in your mind, you dump. This is from a book called Eat Frog. It's a great book on procrastination and how to get things done. It's really easy to mind dump. Put it all out there and then go through it and evaluate. Ask yourself the question, what can only you do? What are the things on your list that only you can do? Then looking at what are the musts. What must be done? What must be done today? What should be done? What you just want to do? Then go through your list and label. They say the ABCDE method of like A is the things that must be done, B are things that should be done, C are things that you want to be done, D are things you delegate, and E are things you eliminate. I just kind of go through them and just say what must, should, and want, and really looking at what can you delegate, what doesn't have to be done by you. What is on my list, you know, buying tickets and booking a house for a vacation in April. I don't do that. You know, what can you do? I don't do this. You can see that. So, hi Laura. She's making a weird face. She just got out of the gym. So, here you go. I don't know if you guys could see this before. This is my mind dump situation. Like, literally, it's not super fancy. And I go through it, and I'm like, okay, A1, that's the first thing I have to do. Send out my email blast. A2, wherever it is. It's over here. Pump up my elegance. You know, and start marking it off. Like, this is where addiction and the idea of getting that high from things really should come in. It's not like you have to go around life not getting a dopamine high, because that's an awesome thing that our bodies do. But switch your addiction from your social media, from your, you know, wanting people to like you, to getting those things checked off your list. Like there's Laura, she's on my list. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about that. So that's basically the idea. Assess your time. How much do you want to work? How many hours are you going to work? When are you going to play? And kind of setting those times out for yourself of, this is my playtime. This is when no one can talk to me. And for me, that works better than saying, this is my work time. This is when no one can talk to me. Because I'm thinking about my business all the time. Like going to bed, waking up. Danny's like, yes. You're thinking about it all the time. So for me, I needed to be able to make the time where I wasn't thinking about it. So, yeah, and then assessing your addiction, realizing that it's okay to put your phone down, setting times away, unplugging from it, and then taking care of yourself first thing in the morning. That has probably been the most valuable thing I have learned in 3 years of doing this. not picking my phone up first thing in the morning has literally changed my life, like 100%. I know that it can irritate some people because I'm not super connected all the time, but when I work, I'm really present. And when I'm with my kids, I'm really present. And so for me, that's better, and I'm a more whole person, and my mind is a lot clearer. And then assessing my tasks, what needs to be done, getting those things that are must-dos first before I start moving into my wants and my shoulds. Make sense? Good. All right. Let's see. Julie says, she feels like there's not enough hours in the day, and I feel like there's always more. The more I put in, and it's the hard to stop. Julie, true. And the reality, and this is why that How to Eat a Frog or Eat That Frog is so good. The very first line is, you will never be able to do it all. Our minds, our brains can give us a to-do list that is 5 miles long, but you're never going to be able to do the whole thing. But sitting down, mind dumping, and looking at what you must do, what you should do, what you want to do, and kind of clearing that all out can really help you to feel like that there is enough time. There totally is enough time. So you just got to focus on the must and not necessarily on all the other little things that you could or should do. Not enough hours in the day, right, Robin? Totally. So sitting down and realizing what's the core actions that you really need to do, and then focusing on those before you move on to other things. Because if you start to evaluate it and evaluate your tasks, I know for myself, a lot of what I was doing was busy work, was, little things that weren't actually necessary. But if I was working from my list, and I am not a list person, people. I am like, don't write me a to-do list. Like, it's not going to work for me. But working from the list and focusing on, like, okay, these are the things I should do, and I have them at the top of my list. This is my list from yesterday. So I got all my musts done, and then all my shoulds are down here. So then those become my must for today. And then I flip it over, and I keep writing, like, what's going to be next for all of the things that I'm going to do. So, all right, I'm going to be quiet for like 2 minutes and let you guys ask any questions, and then we'll close up.
I just wanted to hop on and apologize to you guys. This is my time management. I don't write stuff down, and I had this written down. I did not have this written down, and I had in my head that it was tomorrow. And so I apologize because I was supposed to be on. So I'm very, very sorry, Amy.
Oh, you're totally forgiven, and we'll do it again. I really wanted Laura to share with us about business management. She owns a salon, and she runs this business, and she runs a huge team. So she's a great one. She's a great resource for all of us who about business management and stuff like that. So we will set up a different time for that, Laura, so that you don't feel stressed.
Yeah, I wanted to add what Amy was talking about. I kind of implemented the time management, like what she's talking about with the Eat the Frog and the blocking schedules into my own system after convention. And it's been really game-changing for my family, and being able to say, okay, on Wednesdays I photograph, on Wednesdays I post my albums at 5 o'clock, and different things like that, because Amy really challenged me to put my albums and my business, my online business, one day a week, because I was killing myself trying to have it up all the time and going to the post office all the time. And so it really is beneficial to like block out your schedule and focus on certain things one at a time, because otherwise we tend to try to get 5 or 6 different things done at once, and then we don't finish any of them. So that's my 2 cents.
Oh, I think it's good, and it's hard. It wasn't an easy transition for you to go to shipping one day a week.
Well, and honestly, my sales have suffered, but my mental health and my family life is so much better. And to me, that's a win.
It's totally a win. Totally a win. Someone had that question over there. So at some point, your shoulds turn into musts. How are you able to tell the difference? ADD, and it's all a bit of a muddle for you. Your musts are the things that are going to make you money. Absolutely, hands down. Anything that is the top priority, it's the, what is it called? Pirelli principle, like the 80-20 principle, where we generally spend 80% of our time on the things that will only produce 20% of our income. But it's like if you can switch that, where you're spending most of your time on what actually is going to make you money. So, so at some point your shoulds turn into your must. It's like as soon as your musts are done, that's when shoulds come in. Like on mine, it's like, you know, I must create events. I must pump up certain things. I must, you know, set up these events. Those are my musts. And then, you know, my top must is mailing my invites to my hostesses and setting up their post Simplify, because that's what's going to make me money, right? Like engaging with them. So those are my musts. Julie says this maybe falls into addiction, but how do you deal with the thoughts like, well, if I just keep working, I can have X amount of sales. This month was amazing, but you worked your tail off and you could sleep for a week. You have to balance that for yourself and realize what you're going towards. Working smarter, not harder. You know, kind of looking through and seeing what you could eliminate. What could you delegate? Hanging up inventory is something that if you have kids, like I get my kids involved in all of that. They hang up inventory for me. We had an open house yesterday and my kids were so excited. They were cleaning and vacuuming and making signs for the walls for where the fitting room was. So, you know, don't be afraid to get people engaged in your business. Yeah. Anybody else have questions? I know this is a huge issue and a lot of people deal with it, but I tell you honestly, it's a personal journey and all we can do is share with you what we have done to make it successful for ourselves. So that's my main thing.
I have a question, sorry. What, like, you said that you like read a lot of books and you know, like this is just what works best for you out of everything that you've read. Do you have any recommendations?
The best one I have for, I have two books that I think are fantastic. One that is very much like focused on time management is Eat That Frog. I mean, it's like every ADD person's dream book. It is short chapters. It is like the end of the chapter, like this is all you need to remember. This is what you need to do right now. It's like a dream come true for people like me. That's a fabulous book. And then in terms of kind of figuring out actually where things are. The second book that I highly recommend is a book that I just read, and it's called The Year of Yes, The Year of Yes, by Shonda Rhimes. She's the one who wrote Grey's Anatomy and Private Practice and things like that. But she just kind of talks about balancing life as a mom, as a career person, and she's got a lot of sound advice that kind of helps us deal with all these different internal struggles that we have that are due to time management. Because time management is definitely a practical thing, but it's also very much an internal mental situation that we need to deal with. So those are the two books that I highly recommend on kind of the time management side. So one is practical and one is more kind of, and plus Shonda Rhimes' book is really funny. So there you go. Cool. Anybody else have questions? Thoughts? My definite suggestion for people that feel like there's not enough hours in the day is to take care of yourself first. In the morning, when you wake up, get yourself together. It's like this idea of slowing down to go fast. If you've ever heard that if you take a break in the middle of your day, or if you meditate, like even going on like YouTube and having guided meditations, taking that moment to kind of clear, and it's not like you're thinking about nothing. It's just that you're giving your brain a little bit of a rest, because we're all so excited and our brains are like running like this. And so there's never a space to breathe. So having like guided meditation or something for 10 minutes when you're feeling super frazzled will help you come back with more clarity, and you come back really able to deal with what's happening. So, all right. How long did it take you to switch, your switch, sacred hours, etc., to feel good instead of stressful? For me, it was like within a day of making that switch of working on my own terms, working on my own time, within the day. Laura, they asked about you too. How long did it take you to feel better after you switched, like to 1 day a week shipping and stuff like that? She's driving. She may not be able to answer. I see not her face, so I don't think she's going to answer us. Cool. Julie, you unmuted yourself. Did you have another question, or is that it?
Amy, I just wanted to add something.
Sure.
So I wanted to take on to what you're saying. So for me, my goal this year was to really wake up in the morning and take care of myself. And so I notice if I take a shower, do my makeup, do my hair, I feel better about the whole day and I get more done if I don't pick up my phone first thing and if I take care of myself. And in that, one thing you didn't mention is I always put shoes on. And that's from Mary Kay. And I'm not even a Mary Kay person, but I read that somewhere a long time ago, that when you have shoes on, you're like ready to take on the day. If you have to run outside, if you have to run to the post office, run an errand, it's a mindset change. Like you're ready instead of just like being in your socks. It's easy to curl up on the couch when you're not wearing shoes. And then the other thing that, now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I've noticed recently in my business that everybody needs help in the morning and then they need help at night. So there's this like 4 hours in the middle of the day that, like you're saying, your sacred time, that I really don't have anything in terms of customers actually, needing me. So I'm going to take that as my personal goal, to set aside a few hours in the middle of the day where I can focus on housework and meditating or whatever it is, time for me. So thank you.
Or taking a nap.
Or taking a nap, which I think I need sometimes.
Laura is really awesome at that. Like, she's such a good napper. She texted me the other day and she was just like, oh, I forgot. I couldn't reach your text because I was napping. And, that's okay. You don't have to feel like you have to work 20 hours a day. That's not what anybody is expecting. You have to set your own goals. How much time are you going to spend working, and what are your sales going to be? I mean, Julie, I know you did like $14,000 in sales this month. Maybe in feeling really overwhelmed with all of that, and even though it's amazing, it's like, okay, well, maybe would it have been a little bit easier at 15,000 or at 12,000. 15,000 is more. So so that's my main advice to you guys, is to kind of assess where you want to be. How much time do you want to spend in this business? Is it 10 hours? Is it 20 hours? Where do you want to be? How much money? How much money you want is going to determine how many parties you need to do. And then to just determine, assess for yourself, are you addicted to this? How can you set yourself time for you? And to really look at the tasks that you have to do and get the most important things done first. And the most important things are growing your customer base, making your sales, and connecting with people. So high on that to-do list needs to be getting out of your house, putting those shoes on, and going to Target or walking the mall, whatever you need to do. That is really high on your to-do list of taking care of things. And it's like, you can do two things, kill two birds with one stone, go grocery shopping, take care of the things that you need to do, and it's still business because you're going to go out with the intent of making 10 new connections a day. So there you go. Time management. Think about your time, think about your addiction, think about the tasks that you really need to do, and don't waste it, okay? All right, we'll hear from Laura maybe next week. Sound good? On Thursday. We'll do it Thursday.
I just need to put it in my schedule that it's on Wednesday.
It's normally on Thursday, but I didn't want to take up time from the girls tomorrow with the
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I was like, training the trainers is at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, so that's why I was confused.
Because I thought that Danielle and Robin were more important than me.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Everyone have a great day, and I will post this.
Julie's asking a quick question. Did you see that?
Is there a 4 lenses quiz you can take? Yeah, there's tons of them. I will find a good one for you and post it. All right. Have a great one, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Come here, Micah Joe. Let's move our